You're watching the exact moment Sophie Cunningham accidentally kicked down the front door of the WNBA's media castle. One podcast, one unfiltered conversation, and suddenly the league's old school media system is in full-blown panic mode. And the craziest part? She wasn't even trying to start a revolution.
Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
It all started with a casual convo about DeWanna Bonner's messy exits. No ESPN cameras, no athletic exclusives, no corporate press releases. Just Sophie, her mic, and a co-host. She drops the kind of inside info that normally takes a reporter months to confirm with multiple sources. Except Sophie didn't go through the middleman. She just told the truth. Direct, unfiltered, zero PR spin. And in doing that, she ripped the curtain off the way WNBA media has operated for decades. Players used to need reporters to get their stories out. Sophie proved they didn't. While the traditional sports media is busy pumping out sanitized player quotes, Sophie's already built a 1.6 million strong TikTok army and 1.1 million Instagram followers, without kissing up to a single gatekeeper. Why? Because she speaks sports fan, not corporate PR language, not carefully balanced perspectives. She's competitive, unfiltered, and very, very real. And fans are eating it up. The results? More authentic engagement than most WNBA beat writers see in an entire year. Here's the twist nobody's talking about. Sophie's not just running some independent podcast from her living room. She's plugged into the volume, Colin Cowherd's sports media empire. That's the first major bridge between WNBA player-driven content and mainstream sports media infrastructure. And make no mistake, they didn't sign her out of charity. They saw what ESPN didn't. Authentic player voices can pull in massive numbers when given a real platform. For decades, the WNBA has had its own code. Not the kind written in a rulebook, but the kind everyone knows. You don't criticize other veterans in public. You don't air locker room drama to fans. And you definitely don't give your opponents any extra ammo. It's a system built on mutual respect. But also, let's be real, it's a system that keeps fans from knowing the real story. Sophie Cunningham looked at that code and said, nah. She didn't burn DeWanna Bonner to the ground. She gave her flowers, acknowledged her greatness, and then told the truth.
She's towards the end of her career, so she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're gonna leave...
Leaving without saying anything to your teammates? Not cool. A simple text? That's all it would have taken. It wasn't a hit piece. It wasn't gossip. It was professionalism, straight from one player to the rest of the league. And here's why that matters. In the old model, if a story came out, it would go through a reporter, get sanded down until it lost all its edge, and arrive to fans as a sources say paragraph buried in the middle of an article. Sophie skipped the middleman. No filter, no spin, just her voice, her words, her platform. And in doing so, she cracked the first real hole in the WNBA's wall of silence, showing that players can hold each other accountable publicly without tearing the league apart. To some, it was drama. For others, it was a refreshing dose of honesty in a league that too often plays it safe. And then, Sophie hit the nuclear button. The topic? Caitlin Clark. If you've been anywhere near WNBA Twitter, X, you know that Clark's season has turned into a war zone of takes. Half the league's fans see her as the face of the future, the other half thinks the hype is overblown. Most players, they sidestep the question. They drop safe lines like, she's great for the league, or we're all focused on winning games. Sophie? Yeah, she skipped the PR playbook and went full scorched earth. When someone suggested the league would be just fine without Clark, Sophie's response was simple. You're dumb as f***. Not, I respectfully disagree. Not, that's not entirely accurate. Dumb as f***. And she didn't stop there. She doubled down, pointing out that Clark's impact is measurable in sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV ratings, and jersey sales flying off shelves faster than any other player in recent memory. She wasn't just defending Clark the player, she was defending the business reality of the WNBA's current boom. It was bold, it was raw, and here's the thing, it was strategic. By planting her flag firmly in the Clark Matters camp, Sophie wasn't just expressing an opinion. She was speaking directly to the single biggest, most energized, and most defensive fan base in women's basketball right now. The people who live and breathe every Clark highlight, they heard Sophie and thought, finally, someone gets it. The people who hate the hype, They couldn't wait to clip it, share it, and argue about it, which only boosted Sophie's reach even more. Because here's the truth. Controversy spreads faster than compliments, and Sophie just gave the internet a soundbite that could live forever. This is the exact formula traditional media avoids like the plague. Take a real opinion, strip out the diplomatic fluff, and deliver it with conviction. That's why it worked. That's why her engagement spiked. And that's why traditional WNBA media is nervous. Because if more players start speaking this freely, days of reporters controlling the narrative are done. And here's where it gets dangerous for the league's old guard. Because the second Sophie's Clark comments blew up, something shifted. Every other WNBA player just saw Sophie's numbers spike, and they're asking the same question. Why am I letting the media tell my story when I can just tell it myself? Mark this down. Within 6 months, you're going to see at least 3 to 5 more WNBA players launching their own podcasts, Sophie style. The old WNBA media system was built on 2 things. 1, controlled access. 2, the belief that players needed media more than media needed players. Sophie just shattered both. Fans no longer have to wait for a journalist's recap. They can hear it straight from the source. This isn't just about clicks and followers. It's going to change contracts. Media clauses, social media restrictions, sponsorship terms, all of it is up for renegotiation now that players know their independent market value. If Sophie can reach millions without corporate filters, why would she let anyone put a leash on her voice? And here's the part that should terrify traditional media execs. Sophie's influence isn't tied to her stat line. You don't need to be an MVP to own your narrative. You just need personality, authenticity, and a direct line to fans. The playing field is now wide open. Sophie didn't just talk about a teammate leaving. She accidentally proved the WNBA's media walls were made of paper. And now, every player knows they can walk right through them. The revolution's not coming. It's already here. If you're ready for more unfiltered WNBA stories the league doesn't want you to hear, hit that subscribe button and drop your prediction in the comments. Which player's launching the next big podcast?